Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Builder Keynote. Now, before we get into things, I think I speak for everyone here when I say that one of the highlights of this week has been coming in here every day and seeing what this incredible ensemble has put together for us. So let's give a round of applause to the talented individuals that make up Jazz Mafia. This morning, we celebrate our builder community in your spirit of innovation, of collaboration, and curiosity. How you rally around the technology, how eager you are to innovate and to push boundaries, to try new features, and to provide us the feedback we need to build you the very best platform that you want. But it's more than just the technology, right? This is truly a community of builders. And we want to recognize and celebrate this because we wouldn't be here without all of you. And there are a lot of you. We are over 500,000 community members strong with an incredible global presence. And knowing where our community actually is, we've been able to expand our user group presence to the point where over 50,000 of you actively attend one of our 82 user group chapters. Yeah. And we're proud to say that 20 of those have been added over the past year alone to help build community where you are. But the bottom line is that together, across all of our programs and communities, we have witnessed a tremendous amount of growth around the globe over the past year. And the same goes for those of you here and now. We have more of you than ever before joining us in person this week for Snowflake Summit. More of our builders, more of our squad members, and of course, more of our data superheroes. I'm so glad to have all of you here with us. Thank you. Now, if you've been with us all of this week, you've already seen and heard quite a bit. On Monday, you heard from Sridhar and Sam about where the industry is going. And it should be no surprise to anyone that AI is getting us there. Yesterday, you heard from our founders, our customers, and our product leaders about what is new in Snowflake this year. But today is about you. What you are building, how you build. So quick show of hands, how many recognize this diagram here? Yeah? If you don't, this is the software development lifecycle. It describes how we build, right? It has everything in there. We have planning, development, testing. I don't know about you. I look at this diagram and I feel like it's not so accurate anymore. It's missing something. We felt that the software development lifecycle deserved a little bit of a refresh to accommodate the fact that AI is here. And it's already impacting how we build. So you'll notice that we decided to add a new stage to this, architect. Now, there's always been a focus on our data when we build out applications. But now more than ever before, it is imperative that we architect for our data in an optimal way so that we can future-proof our systems as best as we possibly can to accommodate as many types of data, to provide high-quality data to downstream applications and models, and to enable that data to get where it needs to go as quickly as possible. But the effect of AI is more pervasive than just the addition of that one new section. Regardless of whether you're actually building out an AI-based application, nearly every phase of how we build applications is changing because of AI. Co-pilots, anyone? The fact of the matter is we can't ignore AI. And as a little bit of proof, earlier this year, we surveyed representatives from 1,900 organizations. These are people just like you who have already embarked on their AI adoption journey. And of those respondents, 72%, nearly 3 out of 4, anticipate that they'll hand off certain tasks to autonomous agents by the end of this year. Now, you can look at that statistic and you'll likely feel one of two ways. You'll feel afraid that AI is out there taking our jobs. Or you can feel empowered that you have an opportunity ahead of you in this new era of technology. And I don't know about you, but I want to choose to be empowered by that statistic. And you really should as well, because you have Snowflake on your side. And we know that Snowflake is the place where data does more so that you can stay ahead of the curve on all things that AI has to offer you. So this morning, we'll explore how you, our builders, are already embracing AI and incorporating it into your everyday work to be faster and more efficient. We'll look at the tools and frameworks we've built for you to give you the control and flexibility to build with AI in the way that you need. And along the way, we'll showcase some of the incredibly interesting things that you are already building in this age of AI, things that are driving us forward as an industry. So to guide us through our Builder Keynote this morning, we'll be diving into a refreshed software development lifecycle. We'll start with the folks on the data front lines, our analysts and data scientists. You spend a lot of your time simplifying very complex problems for the business. You're diving into the data, you're gathering insights, and you're influencing business decisions. We'll see how AI agents are changing not only how you work with your data, but also how you work with your stakeholders. We'll then talk about the folks who are laying the foundation for data impact everywhere across our organizations, our data engineers. The architectures that you build are key to supporting all of our organization's data and AI goals. We'll take a look at how this is changing and show how no matter what architecture you started from, AI is making new and different demands on your teams. And finally, we can't not mention our AI and ML engineers, folks who are on the bleeding edge. You're forging a path forward for us all in this age of AI inference. You're both embracing AI for application development and working directly with AI models. We have a packed agenda for you this morning. So however it is that you build, or wherever it is you see yourself on that software development lifecycle, I hope that you'll be inspired by what we have for you today. So why don't we dive in? Without further ado, I'd like to welcome to the stage Jeff Hollan.
Thank you all so much, and thank you, Danica. I love the Builder Keynote. This is my favorite place to be during Summit Week. I'm Jeff, and it has been a very busy year this year, and I've tried to spend a bunch of time working with all of you to understand how data analysis is changing in this AI era. And our goal is really to help everyone here stay ahead of this ongoing transformation. Now, as Danica perfectly teed up earlier, data teams are going through a huge shift right now towards agentic analytic systems. There's a ton that has changed just since last year when I was on stage with you. So LLMs can do so much more now than just share general knowledge or have a conversation. They're able to reason, use tools, to perform tasks, make decisions on which tools to use, all completely autonomously. This is a huge deal because now agents can be used in some of our more mission-critical workloads. Now, another big shift that I've seen is that many of you are already integrating LLM-powered agents into your business systems. A lot of business system context used to be exclusively in structured data, and you've spent a ton of time crafting and curating that data. But LLMs are really good at summarizing and analyzing all types of data, including unstructured data. So we're starting to see agents pop up for more of those types of systems as well, like integrating with your internal knowledge management system. And finally, there's a huge shift in that more and more of your business users are actually able to start to do their own analysis. And this is actually very exciting for both your business stakeholders and for you, the data teams, because your stakeholders are now empowered to explore the data on their own. This helps them build this strong data-driven culture, and the data humans on the front line, those incredible data analysts, data engineers, data scientists, this frees them up to focus more time on doing meaningful and proactive strategic work and not just drowning in tickets all day. But of course, with this shift becomes an important need for additional guardrails. For example, your teams have done a ton of work to make sure that you have accurate representation of business contexts like revenue and customers. And you want to make sure if your business stakeholders are interacting with that data, that they're getting that accurate representation. So today we're going to talk some more about some of those guardrails to make this very accessible for all of you. We're also going to share how we're innovating behind the scenes to give your stakeholders the highest quality of results. And we're going to bring leaders in the community like Whoop, who are building real agentic systems in their organizations today. Now, yesterday, I had the privilege during the keynote to show off Snowflake Intelligence. This is a new UI layer that allows anyone in your organization to start working with agents across your organization. Now, Snowflake Intelligence is built on top of the robust Cortex AI platform. Now, I want to share a little bit more about some of the AI engineering work we've done to make sure that starting with data agents is not only easy, but that your agentic systems can grow and scale with you, that you're able to create the necessary guardrails so that you can have peace of mind that business users are getting accurate answers. So let's start first by giving some color into some of the guardrails and tools that you have available to you. So I'm showing here a semantic view inside of Snowflake. This is where I can define custom attributes about my data and custom instructions. So for instance, this is data that would be coming from an organization like Whoop, who builds fitness bands. So you'll see some of the data is related to those things. I can come in here and define which data should be available, or even define things like synonyms. For example, we track things like multivitamin usage, but people might call that something like a supplement. Now, one of my favorite things to add here in these semantic views are these verified queries. This is where each of you can define the source of truth, most accurate way to answer a question. For example, here, if somebody's asking about daily step count or jet lag, this is the exact query that I want my agent to be using. I can collect as many of these as I want so that I'm ensuring that I'm getting accurate representations of my data and improving my model. And finally, I can even define some more custom instructions. So in this case, I want to make sure that I'm getting a specific decimal place around my different pieces. And so I've added just a quick custom instruction there. So that's just some of what I can do with things like my semantic model and structured data. But what about unstructured data? And we've thought a lot about that too. AI now makes it possible and very easy to pull meaning from things like documents, images, audio files, and more. And we want to make it super easy for each of you to bring that data into Snowflake and surface it to your various systems. Now, the main tool we use to do that inside of Snowflake is the Cortex Search API. Now, one thing that sets apart the Cortex Search API is the embedding model behind the scenes. So embeddings are an incredibly important part of surfacing any data to a model. So what embedding models do is they look at some text or media, and they help determine what is the core meaning and subject matter of this content. So the more accurate your embeddings are, the more accurate and relevant the data that will be surfaced to an AI agent will be. So under the hood, Cortex Search API is actually powered by Snowflake's own Arctic Embed model. And really, the performance of this model speaks for itself. Our own Arctic Embed model, paired with our state-of-the-art hybrid search ranking, make Cortex Search the absolute best option for any organization with both accuracy and efficiency of your applications. And we've worked hard to share this goodness with the community as well. So this Arctic Embed model is actually fully open sourced on Hugging Face for anybody to benefit and build on. And we're constantly striving to find the best of both accuracy and efficiency for all of you. Now, sometimes that means we build it ourselves, and sometimes that means we partner with some incredible tech partners to deliver on that. Now, all this is super exciting and very cool, but how does this look like in terms of a real organization? How are some of your peers gaining confidence in their agentic analytics systems today? So I'm so thrilled to invite onto the stage with me today someone who is on the very bleeding edge of agentic systems inside of Snowflake. So please give a warm welcome for Matt Luizzi, Senior Director of Analytics at Whoop. Matt. Welcome, Matt. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, Jeff. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
So Whoop makes a different kind of wearable device, one that is designed to be worn 24/7. At Whoop, we measure your sleep, activity, blood oxygen, skin temperature, and heart rate. And then we give you personalized insights based on that data. Whoop helps coach you towards your own activity and fitness goals. We've experienced significant growth in the last couple of years. As our data began doubling or tripling year over year, we decided to build on Snowflake because we needed a platform that could scale with us. I guess you could say that right now, every heartbeat Whoop tracks ends up in Snowflake.
That's great. I always love to know my heartbeats are going right into Snowflake. Now, Matt, we've actually been working together for a few months now. Some of the work that you've been doing with your team has been a big inspiration for how we've been building systems like Snowflake Intelligence. So can you share with everybody here a little bit more of how you've introduced LLM-powered agents into your organization?
Yeah. As you know, our product takes advantage of powerful ML and AI capabilities to simplify fitness. We wanted to bring the same powerful capabilities to employees at Whoop and simplify how they work with data. Specifically, we wanted to empower anyone at Whoop to quickly access data, better understand metrics, and easily surface answers to their questions with no code. For this, we're using LLM-powered agents on Snowflake.
It's awesome. And in just a second, because this is the Builder Keynote, we're going to dive into the details. But before we get there, you lead a large analytics organization. So can you help explain why was this a priority? Why did you feel this was an important investment?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's because there will always be more questions in the business than my team has time to answer. And they're all important to someone at the company. By building an agentic analytics system, we make it easier for everyone at the company to work with data. We're also freeing up our data team to work on the most interesting, impactful, and hard business questions like, how did the Whoop 5.0 launch go last month?
Yeah, congrats on the launch. I love those Whoop 5 devices.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's dive in now. Can you share a little bit more details of how this works behind the scenes?
Yeah. First, I want to show you all how the system is designed. You can see here that we're pulling structured data from our internal knowledge base, Confluence, as well as a lot of business context from Google Drive. We're actually really excited to use OpenFlow to manage our unstructured data more easily. Hooking up Cortex Search to our unstructured data allows us to then easily access knowledge generated by the business inside of Snowflake.
Very cool.
For our structured data, we already have semantic models defined in our dbt project. We can easily hook these up to Cortex Analyst services. Then what we do is define an agent, which is essentially an LLM that is able to pick between several relevant tools powered by Cortex Analyst and Cortex Search services. Finally, we connect a chat interface to the agent layer, and now we have an internal knowledge chatbot that sits fully within Snowflake's secure perimeter so that I know all my sensitive information is safe.
Awesome. I love this architecture. This is a really powerful one. Can you help explain a little bit of some of the measures you've taken to ensure that people are getting accurate answers when they're working with this agentic system?
Why don't I show you?
Ooh, let's do it. More demos.
So Streamlit in Snowflake is a flexible UI layer that runs inside our secure Snowflake perimeter. It has handy chat functions that allow me to build a custom app easily with code on the left and a visualization of the UI on the right. We have the ability to choose an agent here. For this example, let's choose Llama 3170B to power our agent. Inside of the tool, there are 3 tools connected to our agent. A PDF search tool using Cortex Search to access some of our internal data. We can approximate that with some PDFs that we've loaded here. A second search service with access to the Locker data. The Locker is a public Whoop blog, and we included in this demo instead of private Confluence data to show you 2 different search tools. We also have a text-to-SQL tool for querying structured data. For this demo, we generated some mock Whoop data, but it based on real measurements our Whoop band take. We generated the semantic model using in this demo based on the Snowflake UI. We're also really excited to build more Snowflake UDFs that the agent can call, enabling interaction with other enterprise systems, such as our visualization tool of choice, Sigma. Now, a common question that comes up is how Whoop thinks about heart rate variability. HRV is an important metric of overall fitness, but there are several different methods to calculate it, so let's figure out which one Whoop uses. We'll grab a prompt and run it in our agent. So what is heart rate variability? Tell me specifically whether Whoop uses RMSSD or SDNN for HRV calculations. And you can see that the agent will pick the tool, and in this case, it decided to choose the Cortex Search to parse through our unstructured data and give us a response. And check it out. HRV is a measure of with a long answer to describe it. So all of our business users can quickly and efficiently get access to the answers that they need. Now let's try something a little harder. We can make some really interesting observations about overall health, like does taking supplements correlate with higher energy levels? Now our model is figuring out if it should look at the structured data instead and is using our semantic model to interpret the question. We don't have a supplements column in the data set, but Cortex Analyst has figured out, thanks to synonyms, that multivitamins and fish oil are both supplements. That's pretty cool. It's also written executable SQL and ran it for us automatically so we can get the results to this query instantaneously, just powered by Snowflake. And now, Jeff, you asked about guardrails. Here's a few more that I'd like to show. Notice that the SQL output is rounded to 2 decimal places. This is because I set custom instructions in my semantic model, ensuring that all numeric columns are rounded to 2 decimal points in the output. And the AI knows to honor these instructions to ensure that the output that I want is delivered to my business. Another guardrail that I like is that you can filter search content dynamically. I can limit the search window across the locker to base it on number of results, and I can dynamically filter that down based on time decays or filters on publication date to ensure that we're looking at only the relevant information that's most recent, or allow the AI to prioritize some of the more recent information in order to get the best outputs possible.
Awesome. And I love seeing how all of these tools work together. One thing that's worth noting, even for folks, as you think about how Snowflake has built these AI things. So here, we're using things like Streamlit in these tools to call across both Cortex Analyst and Cortex Search. But if you want to, you can take that exact same agent that was built through Streamlit, and I can make it visible through something like Snowflake Intelligence. So if I want to know, tell me about user sleep efficiency, I'm using the same underlying tools that Matt was just showing in the Streamlit app, but I have the flexibility to choose exactly where and which interfaces I want to use it in. So awesome. Great job, Matt. I love this demo. So again, I just want to emphasize one of the cool things here is that as you're building agentic systems, these can be as simple or as advanced as your business needs it to be. So if you want, you can start with little or no code, start by setting up some search services directly in Snowsight, use our semantic model generator, use our agent builder, connect these services together for Snowflake Intelligence. Or if you're like Matt, you like to live on the bleeding edge of everything, you can choose to customize what you need. Use our robust APIs, build your own custom UIs, or whatever makes sense for you. Now, Matt, before we let you go, one of the things I'm curious about is you're thinking about these workflows that you're enabling for business users and the work required to join and answer some of these pieces. How do you think about and decide when you're going to build a more customized workflow or when you want to leave it up to the autonomous agent to decide what to do?
We actually prefer to leverage agents as much as possible. LLMs are really good at interpreting what business users might want. And we found that as long as we design our data architecture well with all the guardrails that we've chatted about, we're able to take full advantage of agents for analytics workflows. In fact, I'm going to be talking lots more about this at 4 p.m. today with Jeff and Brendan Farley from Snowflake. I'll cover some more advanced concepts like how we automate creating and searching over semantic models, how we're using structured outputs, and some really cool work we were able to put into production with our partner InfoStructs. Please join us.
Yeah, please, if you want to learn more, 4 o'clock today, come hang out with Matt and I. So thank you so much, Matt.
Awesome.
Appreciate
Thanks
you
for having
joining,
me,
and we'll see you soon. And with that, I'm excited to bring Danica back onto the stage.
It is so great to share a stage with you,
I
Jeff.
know. Let's
so
do it.
excited. So what do you think about that, folks? That was a great demo. I thought that was really cool. Yeah. But as cool as that was, here is one more thing. I've always wanted to say that. I'm glad I got to do it. Every bit of code, every demo that we will be showing to you this morning will be available through this QR code here. So take a picture now, but don't worry if you don't get it. We will bring it up again later on in the keynote. But you can take all this code with you, and you can explore it on your own. You can build on top of it. We're really excited for you to take that with you. So, Jeff, I think it is just incredible to see the momentum around AI in the analytics space and see how our customers are staying on the bleeding edge. But there's more to it, right? AI is just the tip of the iceberg for what you can do with analytics and data science on Snowflake.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we spend so much time talking about agents and the leading and bleeding edge of AI, and it's important for us to make sure that everyone here can stay on top of those things, but we also recognize we want to make you awesome at everything that you're doing, from analytics all the way to data science.
Yeah. And, for me, developer experience across all of our products is especially important. So I'm happy to say that we take all of our builders' feedback seriously, and we're constantly working to improve the product to supercharge how our analysts and data scientists work with data on Snowflake. Jeff, I think a lot of folks will be excited to hear what is new with Streamlit.
Oh, how could you not be? I am a huge Streamlit fan, and we have a ton of exciting news with Streamlit. One of the biggest things is something that we have heard loud and clear from all of you builders, and I'm so excited to share something that we've heard asked for frequently, which is that Streamlit in Snowflake is now generally available on private link for both AWS and Azure.
Yeah. But that is not all. There's more. Many of your favorite open source features are now generally available in Streamlit in Snowflake, like file upload, camera input, experimental audio input, and material icons. And with version 1.44 of Streamlit now available inside of Snowflake, you also get advanced theming. Plus, Git integration and multi-file editing are now currently in public preview, with custom components coming to public preview soon. All that to say, the Streamlit team here has been working so hard to get you parity with the open source technology. So can we give the Streamlit team some love? I get to do it again. There is one more thing. We are excited to announce the formation of a Streamlit steering committee with members spanning multiple companies. As Streamlit becomes the default tool for building AI apps, we are paving the way for broader community involvement in this evolving open source standard. So for more information on this, please stop by the Streamlit AMA. It's going to be happening at the Group Buy Lounge on Thursday.
Now, building on the momentum and Streamlit being a great tool for builders, there's another awesome tool, which is Snowflake Notebooks. So we announced this last year. This is now a new primitive right inside of Snowflake, and we have not slowed down since then. So I'm also really excited to share that Snowflake Notebooks are now generally available on AWS, Azure, and GCP, and we support private connectivity across all three as well.
That's incredible. Yeah. And notebooks now also support container runtime, a flexible compute environment. So this means that you have the ability to customize the software and hardware options that your notebooks are using, all to better support your advanced data science and machine learning workloads. And this is available, generally available on AWS and AWS Private Link, as well as Azure and Azure Private Link.
Yeah, and as if we didn't already have amazing builder tools across notebooks and Streamlit, the other one you probably heard about yesterday is this new Snowflake Workspaces. And it does deserve a little bit of an encore here. This is a really awesome new spot. This is your one-stop UI to work across all of your Snowflake files. So this makes it really easy to jump in and have everything in one place.
Yeah, and you will see improved SQL support, integration for dbt projects, plus external Git integration. We also have side-by-side diffs and charts that are going to make it easier to analyze and work with your files. And of course, Control-K launches an inline copilot so that you can have the power of AI to build the best code you can. Pretty cool. All right, Jeff, I think we've given folks more than enough to think about in the way of analytics. Why don't you go make use of that Whoop band? Go backstage, do some jumping jacks, and we will catch up with you later.
I really will. I'm going to get a lot more heartbeats into Snowflake. Okay? Thanks, Danica. See you later.
Jeff. All right, folks. We have seen how AI is impacting analyst workflows. Now let's take a look at how we're building out the architectures to even make those workflows possible. Because the reality is that AI is fundamentally changing our data architecture and the tools that you need to use to engineer, to move, and to store your data. We know that structured data that is regular, is tabular, is organized, is important to any data application workflow, including, but not limited to, those which leverage AI. But more and more often, unstructured data is becoming top of mind for AI use cases. And while Snowflake has always been a leader in structured data, we recognize that all data is important in this era of AI. And for you to stay ahead of the curve, you need better ways to handle less regular or multimodal data and formats. Think images, text blobs, and documents. So to better support our builders, Snowflake has introduced expanded capabilities to enable you to integrate and ingest both semi-structured and unstructured data through Document AI. Now you can define workflows to extract data from documents and transform that data into more structured tables for downstream use cases. But the way that AI is affecting how we build isn't just about the form of our data. It's oftentimes about the speed of that data. And we're seeing that real-time and streaming data are an important prerequisite for AI. Think about it. Nobody wants to interact with an out-of-date chatbot. Real-time ingestion is vital to ensuring that our data represents an accurate state of our systems and our entities, that our models have the most up-to-date information, and that our applications can respond as quickly as possible. Snowflake acknowledges this need, and with our announcement of OpenFlow, you can build pipelines that are capable of supplying your AI models and applications with the multimodal data they need in real time. So we have new data formats and types and data updated in real time. We can accommodate those. Cool. But who knows what's next? I don't. But what we do know is that the rate at which AI tools and technologies are evolving mean that embracing open standards, open data, and interoperability are key. Where your data resides and how it's formatted should never be a barrier to any new use case or workflow. This is exactly why the technical community and Snowflake have rallied around technologies like Apache Iceberg. Iceberg enables you to build in a way that champions interoperability and gives you the flexibility that you need to future-proof your architecture. We want to support you in this endeavor. Snowflake is committed to integrating with and contributing to Apache Iceberg. We offer both managed and externally managed Iceberg tables so that builders can make use of their Iceberg data in the same way they would built-in Snowflake tables, regardless of where they're stored. And with Open Catalog powered by Apache Polaris, Snowflake users can rest assured that they can track and maintain and govern their Iceberg tables with a catalog built on the open source Iceberg REST catalog specification. But really, at the end of the day, how data engineers are building is changing so that they can support and accommodate and integrate data-hungry models. Whether you're building for unstructured data, leveraging real-time, or building on open, however it is that AI is affecting how you build, Snowflake is here to help you stay ahead of the curve by bringing all of the capabilities you need together in one place with the AI Data Cloud. Now, this is exciting to me at Snowflake because throughout all of this, as we build to accommodate AI, I get the privilege of seeing how your architectures are evolving and where Snowflake is making it easier than ever to build the architectures that your business demands. To showcase how our data architectures are evolving and how Snowflake is at the heart of this evolution, we're going to take a look at a company that is embracing data engineering best practices and future-proofing their entire tech stack as they architect for tomorrow's AI needs. And with that, I'd like to welcome to the stage Nithya Rangarajan and Sampathkumar.
Hello, everyone, and good morning. I'm Nithya Rangarajan, and as a Senior Solutions Architect for Snowflake for the past 4 years, I've been helping customers architect their solutions on Snowflake. I'm excited to be here today with Sampath to share the story of a multi-year collaboration at Toyota to not only address existing challenges, but also pave the way for their future success. Welcome, Sampath.
Thanks, Nithya. Good morning, everyone. It's great to be here. And yes, it's been quite a journey. As you know, at Toyota, we value simplicity and efficiency in all of our operations, be it data or in production. To that end, we knew we needed to transform our legacy data landscape. Our goal was clear: build a unified and scalable architecture that could support a data-driven future and empower our teams. For us, that meant building out a data mesh.
Yes, and because of the way Toyota was organized internally, the data mesh with centralized ingestion and federated domains. Whether the individual domains are their Toyota's internal departments or their manufacturing or national sales companies spread across Europe. The centralized ingestion meant that data can be onboarded once to be consumed by everyone else.
Yes, that's right. But this architecture also meant that to scale effectively and to enable and empower individual domains, a common governance structure was needed. From the beginning, we knew that Snowflake was the right partner for us as we built out our data mesh, but with privacy by design being the core capability that influenced our decision. Our solution accommodated diverse sources, streaming and batch, structured and unstructured, all with Snowflake's end-to-end encryption and provided a single point of access, federated governance, and streamlined management. However, we started to see limitations when trying to democratize petabytes of data without moving or making copies of the data. We were running the risk of silos popping up again within our data mesh. So we needed a better way.
Yes, and because of the scale of the data mesh that Toyota had built so far, that better way needed to be based on open standards.
Exactly. We already had the key pieces to the puzzle, and adding Apache Iceberg at its core allowed the in-place interoperability we needed. We could integrate existing Iceberg tables directly within Snowflake, optimizing our data ingestion pipelines with saving time and money.
Exactly. With this, data was available in real time for analysis, enabling faster decision-making and more responsive analytics across their organization. Not only that, it also drove new use cases for Sampath's team.
Yes, with all our data together under one data mesh, we could more easily unlock its value and solve real issues. Take our connected car program as an example. Once a customer opts in, we can capture the technical information from the vehicles in real time, indicating the technical error codes, tire wear, brake wear, or the need to charge a battery. But a more interesting solution we are building is a remote monitoring module, which includes automatic crash notifications, which we will walk you through in the demo.
Yes, of course, we want to give you all the pieces you need to build this out for yourself. That said, I realize not all of you have a data mesh lying around. So let's try to fix that. Using a fast, expressive, and extensible templating engine like Ginger 2, you can create a repeatable data mesh deployment as a service model that is fully organized to reflect your team structures, easily governed, and easy to administer. Using Ginger, the different resources that you need for a deployment, for example, the databases, the schemas, the compute warehouses, the user roles, the access roles that define the fine-grained permissions, can all be defined as macros. Once these are defined, they can then be combined in any structure or hierarchy needed to reflect your team organization. I think you should all have access to the Ginger script as part of the repository. Let me try to show you a small snippet of the Ginger script. So this is a simple SQL script that can invoke the Ginger statement by providing the input for the model names, for the environments that we want to onboard, for the source names, connected car database and consent in this case, for the domains, R&D and quality that we want to onboard, the data products that belong to the domain, and also defines specific warehouses that needs to be created for sources or data products. So once we have the SQL statement run, then we have the entire data mesh deployment ready to go for Sampath's use case.
Thanks, Nithya. So as you see that the scripts has created a source database, which is our persistent staging, and you have two domain databases, R&D and quality. And the staging database has the Iceberg tables, which we are talking about the collision use case, and also the consent information, which is capturing by the customers. And these information are provisioned basically to the R&D domain database, which is basically using the data for using our proprietary algorithm. And once a crash is basically detected, it gets into the other Iceberg table where we are building the data products itself. For example, there you see the crash data set. And further, these data sets are helping in building the management reports for us. And then we have the quality database, which is a domain. Again, the same data sets like EDER and eCare warning are provisioning in these views, which is further used for building other data products like EDER, and which is further used for our management reporting. So, all in all, our data mesh enables seamless access to data for any other department, strictly governed through Snowflake RBAC. For example, quality department can build data products that allow Toyota to move from reactive to proactive and even predictive detection of issues while reducing the effort. This is huge because before Snowflake and our Iceberg-based data mesh, we were dependent on the manual reporting after customer went to the dealership for the repair. Ultimately, our data mesh makes it easier for customers to get support when they need it and streamline the repair process.
Exactly. And not only that, your team is currently in the process of creating a solution to make that repair process even more simpler for your technicians.
Yes, with Snowflake, we are building an AI agent with full knowledge of every Toyota technical manual that can enable technicians to do their work much more effectively.
And it's use cases like this that goes to show why Toyota spent the time to build out their architecture.
Yes, our goal has always been to enable quicker, more efficient access to our data so that we can do more with it. And with Snowflake on our side, we have been able to achieve that. We know that our analytics, our AI products will only be as good as the data we feed into them. And we feel confident that we are set up for the success in this era of AI. If you'd like to know more about our data mesh architecture and connected car program have evolved with Snowflake, please join Toyota for deep dive sessions at 12:30 and 11:30 p.m. today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And with that, we'll hand it back to Danica.
All right, folks. We know that architecture is important, but so is your developer experience as you're building and maintaining and automating that architecture. Here's what Snowflake is doing to bring a better experience to each and every one of our builders. We're releasing more ways to secure your applications and more ways for you to connect to Snowflake with secure defaults. Programmatic access tokens are in private preview, and OAuth with federated identity will be coming to private preview soon, so keep an eye out for that. These will already be better for you to use than just keep pair. Plus, we have even more improvements to multi-factor authentication coming later this year to make it even easier for you to build and run secure applications. Stay tuned. And I know you're all familiar with our Git support, but now we are announcing the ability to use custom URLs for your Git repository. This means that you no longer have to use domains like GitHub and can instead host Git wherever you want. And finally, we're championing the open lakehouse, increasing and simplifying the interoperability that you want by continuing to invest in Apache Iceberg. Externally managed Iceberg tables in Snowflake can now read row-level deletes in positional delete files so that you can perform update, delete, and merge operations from external engines. And newly added table optimization means that you can automate table maintenance jobs from within Apache Polaris and Open Catalog. Now, this next bit is especially exciting. You may have heard that the Iceberg v3 table spec was finalized about 2 weeks ago. And Snowflake already offers support for some of the latest Iceberg data types like geometry and variant. These are in private preview for you to check out now. And truly, this was an incredible push by our team to continue reducing the time to parity between Snowflake managed Iceberg tables and the open source project. So let's give them a round of applause. All that to say, we are excited to continue working with these open source communities to build out our support for Iceberg and Polaris and bring you the open lakehouse features that you need. So where are we now? So far, we've talked about the huge opportunity of Agentic Atlantics for data teams, and also how open data formats, streaming data ingestion, and semantic models are becoming table stakes in data architecture as organizations prepare for AI workloads. And we saw what we've been working on at Snowflake to make this evolution that much easier for you. We've covered a lot so far, but really, this is just the beginning. And there's so much more ground for us to cover as we explore how AI is changing the way that we build. You only have to look at the diagram to see it. There are still so many more sections up here that we have yet to address in this morning's keynote. And I promise you we will get there. But on top of that, the reality is that we are all still very early on in this journey of how AI impacts the development lifecycle. And things that software developers take for granted today are still nascent in the AI world. For example, LLM orchestration, standard communication protocols are being developed as we speak. So if that's the case, how do we ensure that what we're building today prepares us for tomorrow's continued wave of AI? It's all about structure and guardrails. Architecting our systems with governance in mind. engineering our data, cleaning it, understanding it for optimal usability. Ultimately, this allows us to be agile and gives us the ability to accommodate a broader swath of use cases down the line as AI evolves. So to update us on the latest impact of AI in this space and how our developer journey is shifting, I'd like to welcome Yusuf Ozuysal to the stage.
Thank you, Danica. And hi, everyone. I'm Yusuf, and I help build Cortex in Snowflake. In my role, I see firsthand how AI is changing the way you and I build. And I'm here to talk to you about how best practices are evolving even as we speak, and how Snowflake can help you stay ahead of the transformation. Looking at the software development cycle behind me, it's hard to find a section here that is not being turned upside down by AI right now. Let's take develop, for example. LLMs started helping us code almost 3 years ago, but this is the year where they've gone from occasional assistants to agents that are fully in the driving seat. Or what about testing? On one hand, LLMs can write and automate testing and executing them pretty easily. But what about testing things like as unstructured as natural language? We are still figuring out how to do this properly. We are still at the early stages of this journey. There are some things we do know, though. Agentic systems have taken LLM use on a totally different trajectory. Now that LLMs can use tools, they are becoming a lot more useful. You've seen this already. Jeff touched on just one example earlier with agentic analytics. More and more, LLM-based services are getting deployed into production daily, fueling a meaningful industry shift. If a year ago, most compute went towards training models, right now, more is going towards deploying and running AI inference, AI services and applications at scale. Inference now is an essential toolkit in the essential tool in the developer toolkit. Today, right here, is the age of AI inference, and we are all living in it. What does this mean for you, and how is Snowflake helping you stay ahead of the evolving AI application stack? Let's start with the obvious. LLMs are still evolving, and the momentum on the AI frontier is ever increasing. The best model for a task changes every month. This can get really unnerving, especially if you're building for an enterprise. At Snowflake, we are committed to make sure that no matter the task, you have the best model for that task available inside Snowflake Cortex. This is why we are the only platform that serves models from both OpenAI and Anthropic. This is also the same reason we made Llama 4 available at day 0, and the same reason why we were one of the first platforms to make DeepSeek available in a secure parameter. And yes, now we offer multi-model LLMs as well. But that's not all. What you build today should be easy to deploy at scale tomorrow. This is why we ensure that your models run as close to your data as possible. What does that mean? When you run Cortex for inference, your data stays in Snowflake's security parameter. Your RAG pipelines never leave the cloud backbone. This is true for the entire spectrum of models, from smaller models that are open source to frontier models at the cutting edge of capabilities. This way, you can focus on staying on the bleeding edge and have Snowflake do the hard work. How else is Snowflake helping you stay at the age of AI inference? Working on the bleeding edge means having access to best-in-class inference and throughput in your AI platform. And we choose to deliver the best-in-class inference by staying close to emerging standards and by investing in our own research to improve AI infrastructure performance even further. Now, VLLM and DeepSpeed are some examples of emerging open source standards that we are investing heavily in to help you stay ahead of the curve. VLLM is a serving layer for LLM inference, and DeepSpeed makes distributed inference even more efficient. These projects recently joined PyTorch Foundation with support from Snowflake as a premium member of the foundation and its board of directors. We actively contribute to their development as well, with many leaders in the Snowflake AI research team being founding members of these projects. But not only that, Snowflake Cortex runs VLLM underneath as its inference engine. Our research team recently launched a VLLM plugin, Arctic Inference, utilizing a slew of inference technologies like Swift KV, speculative decoding, suffix decoding for blazing fast inference speeds. With these inference optimizations, enterprises can see up to 4x improvements on latency and 2x on throughput at the same time. We are seeing broad adoption from the community for Arctic Inference. And we'll continue to push the boundaries of inference optimizations and share these benefits with the AI community through these projects and with you, our enterprise customers, through Snowflake Cortex. So I've been talking a lot, so let me walk you through some videos of what these technologies look like in practice. So as you know, LLMs generate text through predicting the next token, one token at a time. Speculative decoding changes this pace by using a draft model to generate more than the next token. Then at every step, the draft tokens are verified and committed, and these can provide a significant boost in inference speed, allowing you to complete your tasks even faster. This technology is now available in all Snowflake Llama models in Cortex. Suffix decoding, on the other hand, remembers snippets from your previous requests and uses them if it can verify that they are relevant for the current request. This is especially useful for agentic workloads for coding that can repeat the same snippets of code many, many times. Going back to our principles, third and the most important, we believe that inference should be accessible. Cortex creates clean abstractions that enable you to keep up with the fast pace of change in the industry. This means going from prototype code to production with a cloud provider shouldn't require cumbersome new APIs to adapt to. With that, I'm proud to say that we now offer an endpoint with drop-in compatibility or OpenAI SDK so that you can easily build your existing workloads on Snowflake's inference backend. Thank you. With this endpoint, you can keep your existing code written for OpenAI SDK and change only the API key, the base URL, and the model name if you need it, and proceed to get all the benefits from Cortex that I have gone over with just 3 lines of code changed. Let me actually show you this with a demo. So we have the OpenAI's simple evals repo open here. This is a code base to help you run a few benchmarks. MMLU is going to be the one that we are going to be focusing today. And as you can see, it's written for the OpenAI SDK. And to make this work inside Snowflake Cortex, all you have to do is change the base URL and point it towards your Snowflake Cortex endpoint. And then we have to set the API key. I'm hoping that it will be somewhere here, to the API key given to you by your personal access token. And then with just that, you can run if you get the model name right, you can run any code that was written for OpenAI SDK directly from Snowflake Cortex. And again, because we have all the various models available for you in Snowflake Cortex, you can change the model to any available provider and then use that model for your OpenAI SDK code as well. That's basically it. The point of the demo is there's not much to demo, it just works. So all of these improvements mean that we are now the platform of choice for partners like Hex, who are trusting us to be their inference provider. With that, I would like to welcome Hex CTO Caitlin Colgrove on the stage to talk about how Hex uses Cortex for inference. Hi, Caitlin. So Hex has been a long-time partner for Snowflake, so we are very excited to have you on stage today with us.
We're excited to be here.
And Hex has been using AI for quite a while in its products. When you look at your products, what are the kinds of problems that you're trying to solve with LLMs today?
So Hex and Snowflake have partnered together for years to bring AI tools to data work. And in that time, we've really seen this industry evolve, both with more capable models, but also on security, privacy, and governance. And for our customers who want to be thoughtful, not just about where their data is stored, but also how it is used, it's really essential to have all of these workloads under the same unified governance layer. So at Hex, we're very excited to be able to provide all of Hex's inference workloads on this same shared infrastructure in Snowflake Cortex.
That's great to hear. And how important is model choice for you while building user-facing products?
Well, it seems like every week we get a new model release that beats all the benchmarks. So if at Hex we weren't able to seamlessly upgrade to the latest and greatest, we would pretty quickly fall behind. And with Snowflake Cortex, we know we will always have access to the most cutting-edge models, both open source and proprietary. And this includes Claude 4, which is live today in both Snowflake Cortex and Hex.
That's wonderful to hear. And what are you most excited about building in the near future?
Well, at Hex, we've been thinking about these multi-step agentic workflows for years now, but prior generations of models really struggled with the complexity and the nuance of data work. With these latest generations, including Claude 4, we've seen these workflows be unlocked in completely new ways. So we're very excited to partner with Snowflake to bring the latest generation of agentic tools to data work, helping our users spend less time on rote, repetitive tasks and more time answering the deepest and most impactful questions for their businesses.
Thank you, Caitlin.
Thank you.
As you can see, we are committed to building all the components necessary to make Snowflake Cortex the most capable platform for AI applications. Of course, these building blocks are only meaningful with a community of developers that builds innovative enterprise solutions on top of them. And a community like this, building the future of AI, need a place to gather. To talk more about how Snowflake will be taking an active role in this, I would like to welcome Elsa Meyer to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Yusuf. So, we know that AI innovation thrives when the community comes together. What if there was a place where developers, startups, and business leaders could work side by side? What could you achieve if you had access to cutting-edge resources and a vibrant community? What if together we could shape the future of AI? Coming this fall, we are opening the doors to the Silicon Valley AI Hub, a 28,000 square foot space in our Menlo Park campus, which will connect the startups here in San Francisco with the VCs on Sand Hill Road and the tech giants in the peninsula. The space will feature flex desks for startup co-working, a dedicated meetup hub for community events, and a state-of-the-art workshop facility for hands-on learning. And finally, the Summit Cafe, where you can recharge and get inspired by the views. Snowflake's vision for the AI Hub is really to put all of you, the community, in charge and create a place where both collaboration and innovation take center stage. Today, I'm thrilled to invite all of you here in this room to become founding members of the Silicon Valley AI Hub community, an extraordinary community, and play an active role in shaping the future. You can join us to get exclusive updates on our launch, early access to both host and attend events in the space, and of course, endless opportunities to connect with your peers in the community. I am so excited, and we are so excited to build the future with all of you at the Silicon Valley AI Hub. And with that, to close us out, I'd love to invite Danica back to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you, Elsa. Personally, I can't wait to physically bring the community together around AI, to discuss, to share ideas, and to build together in one place. Really, it's going to be incredible. But speaking of building, here's another reminder of our QR code from earlier. On it, you'll find everything from this morning's keynote: resources, repositories, continued reading, and more. So I encourage each one of you to check it out, reproduce what we showed to you today, and build on top of it. At the very least, you should check out the link as a refresher of what you saw this morning, because we saw so much in such a short amount of time. We saw how data teams are evolving to be more effective and leveraging AI agents to focus on more interesting, more difficult problems, freeing up people like Jeff to focus more on his fitness goals. Jeff, I know you want to use your Whoop band, but you can stop now. All right. We saw how the way that we architect is evolving, the formats of data that we work with, the needs around how we ingest our data, and the open standards that are enabling us to architect in a smarter, more efficient way. And finally, we heard how this age of AI inference is more pervasive than ever, impacting every stage of how we build, and the opportunity that we have as a community moving forward. It's clear that regardless of what your role is, the future is bright for all of us builders as we embrace AI. But I want to be clear on where we currently are and what it is that we're witnessing right now. You see, we're undergoing a phased transition as data roles and responsibilities change with and around AI. And as part of that, we're seeing a convergence towards data engineering best practices, where we're developing a shared language across different layers of our business. Now, we're still very early on in our journey with AI, so the outcome of this transition hasn't fully been seen yet. We don't really know where it's headed, but that should be an exciting opportunity for all of you here in this room. You see, we're like a jazz band. Each of us builders has different skills and interests, different roles, and ownership over different aspects of our tech stack. And just like the diverse ensemble that's been playing with us this week, each of us builders plays a different instrument in our day-to-day. So as we go through this transition together, as this shared language around AI evolves, we'll be able to create harmony across our own teams, even if we're not quite sure what the outcome will be. So it is my hope that you saw yourself reflected in this morning's keynote, because ultimately the stories we told are your stories. So let's keep that story going. Get building and get on out there and enjoy day 3 of Snowflake Summit.